just minutes ago that they were still treating this as an active shooter situation. And when she was asked, is the threat over? She responded by saying, not yet.
Have we just happened to not see that, or do you feel like the kids are being kept inside there for now while the school can kind of officially sort out and make sure everyone's accounted for before releasing anyone? Does that make sense?
Yeah, Bart, I believe the buses that you see coming in right now are filled with students, and because the scene is so chaotic, they obviously want to keep everyone separated in order to fully count everyone. You can see this bus here loaded with kids this afternoon. We've got a parent here who probably looking for his kid on one of these buses. This is the third bus that we've seen come into the rec center. Completely packed. You can see there's kids standing in the aisles of the buses in order to get everyone on. This is our fifth bus. 6, 7, 8 buses have already made their way in. And if you can't see already, it's raining outside. It is pouring. We are all soaking wet out here, but it is not stopping the hundreds of parents that are out here waiting for their kids to get back. And these buses are getting escorted all the way back to the back of the building where they can be reunified with their parents. We're being kept away from that area in order to minimize the chaos that we've seen here. And Bart, I can't explain it. It's there's so much going on.
Now here is Tony Spurlock here. Let's listen to see what he has to say.
We just got done talking to this father who's this young boy was in the school when it happened, and he just had this. Tell me what you felt when you walked in and you saw your kid there.
You know, like it's a rebirth. It's a rebirth. This is very sad happening in the schools in US. There should be a way to control these things. Whether we don't know whether we are sending the kids to the school or to the graveyard. They should find a proper solution for this, and it should not happen anywhere in the US.
Do you think your youngest had any idea what was going on?
Yes, I did. I had no idea though. I was scared that they were gonna arrest people.
Did you hear anything?
Huh?
Did you hear anything?
Yeah, I heard a knocking on the door when I was in my school. I thought it was a robber, but it was just in police, and I was so scared.
The State Patrol is really not letting you leave the city. It seems like visibility down to about 100 feet at times. The winds are making things incredibly problematic. There's been multiple people I've talked to at gas stations that are in tears because they can't get down to Colorado Springs where they need to go to see family, and people seem to be coming to a standstill and just hanging out at gas stations almost because there's nowhere else to go.
Wow, we're getting wind reports right now of 97 miles per hour in Colorado Springs. We're going to have to verify that, but this wind gust showing 97 miles per hour. I cannot stress enough how serious this is. Please get away from your windows, get to an interior room of your home, because again, this will take down trees, power lines, as we have been seeing.
Anywhere from probably 25 to 50 cars are just sitting there, you know, bumper to bumper, waiting to get rescued right now. Sitting there, snow's piling up. If you're hearing this on the radio, just keep an eye on that tailpipe. Again, you may not know it's actually backing up into your car because it's such a slow buildup, but keep the windows cracked every now and then. Check your tailpipes and you know, do the best you can to keep yourself safe however you can.
We begin tonight with big new developments in the Devon Bailey case. He is the man who was shot and killed earlier this month while fleeing from Colorado Springs police.
Today, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office completed its third-party investigation. Their report has now been forwarded to the District Attorney's Office for a final ruling, and as promised, police have also released that body camera clips tied to the investigation.
And we're going to play a large portion of that for you now. We're going to play it largely unedited. It is intense, it is graphic, and in no way suitable for sensitive viewers. In light of the ongoing controversy surrounding this incident, we wanted you to see the bulk of it.
We pick it up as officers arrive to confront Devon Bailey and a second suspect just minutes after a man called 911 to report he had been assaulted and robbed at gunpoint.
Hey guys, can I talk to you a sec? What's going on today? All right. What are your names?
What's the reason?
All right. So we got a contact that keep your hands out of your pockets.
Oh, sorry.
Possible assault that occurred?
Oh, I didn't touch it.
Okay. What's your name? Devon. What do you go by?
I just go by.
Do you go by Spaz? Okay. Put your hands up for me a sec. Put your hands up. Right. So we got a report of 2 people, similar descriptions, possibly having a gun, all right? So don't reach for your waist. We're going to just check and make sure that you don't have a weapon, all right?
Hands up! Hands up! Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Get down on the ground! Get down on the ground!
We need a med kit. We need a med kit. Medical kit.
I was checking for weapons quick.
Wall 9, clear for medical. We're on the south side of Adams. Head Proust and Proust.
He's got
bend in the road. He's got a gun.
Yeah.
Take his pants. Take the shorts off. He's got a gun in his pants. Me.
I can't get to it.
Hold on. I'm cutting the pants off.
Stay with me, brother. Where'd the other one go?
We got him.
Hey, you got it? All right, let's get back.
Who's with him? Gonzo, stay with him.
I'm not gonna
Go, stay with him.
Despite the release of the clip you just saw, the big question still remains: were police justified in shooting Devon Bailey? The district attorney will ultimately decide that.
After 4 long years, cadets left Falcon Stadium with a huge smile and a new rank.
Make America proud. You make us all proud. Thank you very much. Great job. Really great job.
President Trump taking the stage to kick off festivities. The Thunderbirds took to the skies, performing an outstanding show to follow the famous graduation hat toss.
Thank you very much. Please. You just like all those brand new beautiful airplanes that we're buying.
Good afternoon, guys. Really an exciting day here at Falcon Stadium, but none more so than for the cadets, the graduates, and their families. About 20,000 of them up in the stands. They had to wait a bit longer for the start of today's ceremony, as you mentioned, due to the late arrival of Air Force One.
Each day, these women are being victimized without much hope.
Turn that shit off.
The problem is big.
Get the camera out of here. Get it out of here. Seriously.
It's an industry that is in the shadows.
We do not do none of that.
Make these places accountable.
We start tonight at Lucky Massage, located right across the street from our station along South 8th Street. And despite being neighbors, you could say our visit wasn't welcomed.
Hello? Huh? Is Tina here? No. I'm Stephanie with News Channel 13 across the street.
We have a question. No. Excuse me, ma'am. We have a number of questions for you.
This woman working inside didn't want to speak with us. She's one of around 70 women in Greater Colorado Springs working in a spa similar to this one.
Ma'am, are you aware there are very explicit reviews posted online that clearly suggest sex is for sale? Are you aware of that?
It's very sad. One, that their dignity is being stripped from them, and they don't even realize it.
After surveilling 3 different spas at night, World Spa on March 26th, Paris Spa on April 2nd, and VIP Spa on April 25th. For each spa, we arrived at 8:30 at night, each one closing at 10. But we stayed another 3 hours until 1 in the morning, watching the front and back doors, just to see if any of the employees would leave. Each time, the outcome was the same. The men would leave at closing time, and the next morning, we'd often see a new review posted online.
Families want answers here.
I know that, and they're gonna have them.
Where's the money?
It's my lawyer.
Where's the money?
Silence. That's all we got. That could have been the end of the story. But on November 20th, the duo filed a public appeal requesting their license back. It was the first time we heard Kevin McGee express any regret and remorse.
And this has hurt a lot of people, and it's just eating me alive inside.
The two blaming their bad behavior on a change of management.
We're in the process of going back to fix up and rectify the projects we had in place.
Yet, these 12 families have yet to hear from either of them. So I questioned them after the hearing.
I've been trying to get a hold of you for 5 months now.
You should talk to us before you talk to
Where is the money? You never can answer that question.
Have you been out there? How many times have you been out there?
First of all, that's not
How many
answering
times
my
have you been out there?
question.
I don't care if I answer your question.
Ken, this is their
out at
livelihood.
It's out at Lawson.
We're not talking about just the Lawsons. We're talking about a dozen people now, Ken. That is a lot of people who are out of money now. Are you okay?
Hey, hurry up now, hurry up now.
Okay.
You see, for decades, the U.S. and most of the world sold paper, plastic, and other recycled materials to companies in China, millions of tons every year. But in 2017, China cut back on plastic imports, and last year, China banned almost all imports.
And so what it's forced us to do is look to other markets. So now we're shipping stuff farther. So we're looking to Vietnam, Mexico, other places like that who have facilities that are willing to accept this material.
And in order to be accepted, the materials also have to be in better condition than before. Items contaminated with food are no longer accepted. Only those that are clean and dry.
It's clean and dry.
Which puts more of a burden on recyclers like Douglas.
That asks a lot of people.
Unfortunately, too many people haven't learned the new rules, leading to far more curbside contamination than before.
Number one issue every day, contamination, wishful recycling, garden hoses, all these things that people just think we can figure it out, and you just really can't.
Dozens of women as young as 12. Such promise. Their backgrounds, their beginnings, their hometowns, all different. The one thing they share in common: Ted Bundy, a diabolical killer with a friendly face. He looked successful, educated. That's partly how he was able to kill dozens of women from coast to coast, faking injury in some cases to gain the compassion of unsuspecting women. His trail of death, tearing through 6 states: Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, and Florida. Colorado's chapter, though, embarrassing. Bundy's 2 escapes here, opening the door to even more murders.
Finally convicted and sentenced to die, Bundy still refused to accept the blame for his crimes.
Before he was convicted, Bundy came to the Roaring Fork Valley. A lot has changed in the nearly 45 years since then, but this community still bears his scars. Bundy found who he was looking for the second year into his killing spree. 1975, Snowmass, the elite skiing community on the outskirts of Aspen. Karen Campbell, a registered nurse, was on vacation with her fiancé, quickly going back inside their hotel to get a magazine she left behind.
So you can see the hotel room. That's the Wildwood. This is the location that she was going to, where she was found.
Campbell's body was found naked and bludgeoned. Chief Deputy District Attorney Steve Mallory.
They use whatever they can to manipulate people for their own personal enjoyment.
Boxes of Bundy's Trail of Terror are here. That infamous VW Beetle.
This is the one where he's still got the passenger seat in it.
And the transcripts of his interviews with investigators. He would never give a reason why he picked Colorado.
Well, it's hard to separate the 1 or 2 trips I've made to Colorado last year.
It would be that spring. Bundy wound up in Vail, just down the road, faking an injury, asking for help from his next victim, Julie Cunningham. The young ski instructor disappeared, her body never to be found. Bundy would go on trial for Campbell's disappearance in Pitkin County. A photographer with the Glenwood Springs Post-Independent there to snap that smirk, that iconic photo. The picture itself hidden for decades in a safe belonging to the newspaper.
We had no idea what was in it until we found these.
A locksmith successfully cracking it open.
Danny and Marty, you know, I don't have time for all these live hits because it's Race for the Cure, Guard to the Gods, and I'm here at the finish line cheering on these people that are just now finishing. We're probably seeing about half of the participants come across the finish line here. They're all getting their last leg, their last burst of energy here. Let me ask this woman. Ma'am, come here, come here, come here. What's your name? I know you're totally out of breath here, but I'll try to go slow. What's your name?
Lisa.
Lisa. And what compelled you to be a part of the Race for the Cure today?
Well, I had a very good friend who passed away a few years ago, and I like to run. I like to be outdoors and just be outside.
The wind reaching hurricane force levels, taking captive cars, toppling trees.
We just lost our whole tree fort.
Knocking over play sets and tossing trampolines. This storm, nothing to contend with, and it's not over yet.
Winds will slowly taper off later tonight for parts of the Pikes Peak region. Temperatures back down in the 20s. And we'll have afternoon highs back in the 30s and some low 40s out there for tomorrow. Even warmer by the weekend. We'll showcase that weekend forecast. That's all coming up.
Your storm team coverage starts now.
You're watching KRDO News Channel 13, where the news comes first. Your news starts right now.
And you are looking at a live shot right now at I-25 near Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. The roads still messy tonight.
And very icy. Today's bomb cyclone blizzard bringing some of the highest winds ever recorded in Colorado. And with roadside rescues still happening at this hour, the governor has declared a state of emergency. Good evening, I'm Heather Skold.
And I'm Bart Bedsole, and we are in storm mode here on KRDO News Channel 13. Colorado Governor Jared Polis today authorized the activation of the Colorado National Guard, declaring an emergency because of the blizzard that pounded the state today.
The National Guard will focus on search and rescue operations for the hundreds of drivers still stranded on closed roads in central and northeastern Colorado using a large snowcat like the one you just saw there.
The Colorado State Emergency Operations Center also moved to Level 2 operations to support counties affected by the blizzard. And the warming shelters are filling up. This was the scene at the Colorado Springs rescue mission earlier today. Police bringing people to the shelter throughout the evening and getting them out of that dangerous cold. This is one of roughly a dozen shelters that have been opened up and down the Front Range in some of those areas hardest hit by today's blizzard. As you can imagine, it was a day filled with some amazing sights and sounds. Before we cover some of the specific issues and areas, here's a broad look at today's conditions using some of the best images captured by our staff and by you. The sound alone was terrifying, and the wind echoed across the Pikes Peak region. With it came a long list of problems.
We just lost our whole tree fort.
This play set in Black Forest was toppled. Others lost large trees in their yards. This family in Briargate lost 2. Pueblo didn't see much snow, but the winds were just as bad, uprooting trees, which in some cases fell on homes and cars. But the most widespread problem was the roads. The winds pushed the back of this 18-wheeler off I-25 into 2 cars already on the side of the road. And hundreds of drivers were either involved in a pileup to the north or east of Colorado Springs, or they were stuck in traffic for hours behind a pileup. Areas along Mark Scheffel were among the largest of the makeshift parking lots. El Paso County even brought out a snowcat to rescue drivers near Constitution and Highway 24. And even those who were lucky enough to get a tow from a friend or a stranger likely faced even more digging out from blizzard-blown drifts right outside their front doors.
Incredible footage there. It has been a tough day and night for our many plow drivers. Many roads still closed, along with thousands of businesses. We sent Chase Golightly out to check road conditions and paint us a picture of the night after the storm. Chase is out front of our TV studios here on 8th Street. Chase?
Heather, yes, just right outside our studio near downtown Colorado Springs. Things are pretty nice out here. The wind has died down, the snow's coming down very softly, but taking a 10 to 15 minute drive north, things get bad quickly. Real bad.
For those in southern Colorado Springs, it almost looks like a regular snow day. But the more north you go, the roads get worse and worse. Some saying this is the worst blizzard they have seen in more than a decade.
Probably the worst I've seen since 1997. I was here for that last blizzard, and this was probably by far the worst.
The interstate, normally busy, has no cars in sight. Parking lots to stores and gas stations abandoned, most closed during the heavy snow. But while the roads were mostly empty, it was the plow trucks who were the king of the roads, clearing the streets as best they could. A loud job that needs to get done. Chris Mitchell is a private plow driver. He says what gave him and other drivers the hardest time clearing the roads was the wind.
You know, we had these last snowstorms were pretty bad with the inches wise, but with this wind, it makes it a lot harder because everything's real icy. So it's been a lot. This storm is the worst one of the year by far.
And while the plows were having some trouble on the roads, it was the regular drivers who couldn't even get through the slush and ice. Quade Loadridge says even driving behind a snowplow didn't help him.
Right behind the snowplow, maybe 5 feet behind it. Like I was having to caution myself going up a hill, and I still wasn't making it.
Saying he will be waiting for this blizzard to let up. The other drivers on the road should do the same.
So if you were planning to head up north for tonight, it might be best to find a place for it to stay tonight and try to make that trip tomorrow morning. We're live in Colorado Springs. Chase Golightly, KRDO News Channel 13.
All right, Chase, thanks. Now, we weren't just witnesses to the road troubles today. One of our own crews got stranded, just as many of you did. Meteorologist Sam Postich and photojournalist Chapin Everett were stuck in Castle Rock for much of the day, then stranded at a gas station in Monument for much of the evening. They join us live there now. Sam, how are things looking up in that part of the area tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Bart. So right now I'm at the Come and Go in Monument, and many of us here were directed to this Come and Go by Emergency Management Services, telling us this is the place to go to stay safe. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone out there that has helped out saving people from stranded cars. There was a lot of cars off the sides of the road, and without the help of emergency management, you know, a lot of those people would still be stranded, but many are safe because those out risking their lives to save those that were in need. So a big shout out to emergency management crews. And I was actually wanting to thank the Tri-Lakes Fire Department and also a few Good Samaritans that helped me dig out the mobile storm tracker on Highway 105 close to Highway 83. We were stuck in a big snowdrift, and the Tri-Lakes Fire Department really helped us out, and we actually ran into similar story from a woman here at the Come and Go. Check it out.
My day has been very stressful. Stuck on the interstate 6 hours and brought here by a fireman and said I had to stay here because I couldn't get home because I live up on the mountain. Well, they were wonderful. I mean, every opportunity they had to stop by the cars and talk to us, they were doing that. And also, speaking of that, we can thank these people here for helping us.
Yeah, and I just want to also thank all the state patrol, all the fire department workers, all of the police officers that were out today in these conditions. And even though the snow has started to let up, the wind is still blowing pretty good, and the roads, I haven't seen a ton of improvement. And it does seem like it's possible that we're staying the night at this Come and Go up in Monument, but no worries. We're nice and warm and safe here. So big thank you to everyone out there. Back to you in the studio.
Wow, Sam, glad you guys are safe and sound there tonight, but still a lot of drifts there, even up in Monument at that Come and Go gas station. Thanks so much, you guys. Well, Chief Meteorologist Mary Matthews has been covering every square detail of this for you. And Mary, as you predicted, the wind was the huge factor today. Hurricane force levels out there.
Yeah. It certainly was, Heather. I mean, we have had widespread wind damage from parts of Colorado Springs down to Pueblo, Monument, even out across parts of the Highway 24 area. Want to share this shot with you. Of course, this is looks much better than it did several hours ago. Cripple Creek, where we've now started to taper off with the winds just a bit more. We're still under a winter storm warning here until later tonight for Cripple Creek until really early Thursday morning. Colorado Springs is still under a blizzard warning until midnight, even though the strongest of winds, of course, being found just to the north of the area. Monument, of course, where Sam is stranded up there, that is going to continue those blizzard-like conditions until 6 o'clock in the morning. So the winds are still going to be packing a punch here, especially across the eastern plains through a good part of Thursday. And then Thursday afternoon, we'll see a significant improvement in the winds. But high wind warnings are still in effect here for parts of the Arkansas River Valley along the Raton Mesa. There's a look at your center of circulation that continues to pivot across the Nebraska and Kansas border. So we're still getting that wraparound moisture in the form of a few little snow showers. And still, this is just the radar combined with the wind gusts, 60 mile per hour gusts. There's 67 mile per hour gusts, about 56 for Colorado Springs. You'll notice as we kind of zoom in a little bit closer here, the snow showers are tapering off there for western Los Animas County, but this is the area we were actually expecting the snow to linger through the overnight hours tonight. We may see a brief little break at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But some areas, especially across Highway 24 and northern El Paso County, will see some ongoing flurries through the early morning hours of Thursday. That combined with the strong winds will certainly continue to reduce visibility out there. Now, the winds won't be quite as intense as they were earlier today, but we will start to see a gradual improvement through the afternoon hours, right about noon for places like La Junta, Pueblo, and you'll even notice it'll get significantly calmer by tomorrow evening. We'll talk more about your weekend forecasts coming up in just a few minutes.
That'll be a relief to be 24 hours from now, and even the weekend. Mary, thank you. Flying in and out of the Springs came to a complete stop today. All flights were grounded this afternoon. Check out this video we shot earlier. The wind was so strong just before noon that the doors to the main terminal broke. DIA was no better. More than 1,000 flights were canceled there. By the way, if you have flights planned for tomorrow, you will want to double check with your airline before leaving for either airport. And one other transportation of note here, Mountain Metro, which had stopped running buses at around 1 o'clock today, will resume services at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Seemed like everywhere we went today, our crews ran into life-threatening road conditions. KRDO News Channel 13's Alexis Dominguez was part of our earlier team coverage and saw firsthand the impact it had along the Powers Corridor east of Colorado Springs.
Traffic at a complete standstill, all due to a complete whiteout caused by the heavy winds. Even on some of the busiest streets in northern Colorado.
We are along Powers just past Palmer Park, and they are whiteout conditions here. You can barely even see the road. We are standing in a parking lot just by the street here.
Car after car abandoned or parked in any and every direction.
I want to give you a look at the cars that are stranded. We've heard that there are about 500 motorists stranded in Colorado Springs, but this gives you an idea. And of course, right when we're trying to show you, the wind picks up, but you can see, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars here. We are on Stetson Hills, right at the King Soopers by Powers.
But by the end of the day, the amount of stranded drivers nearly doubled. Some people chose to wait in their cars for the storm to die down, but the winds were not letting up.
The weather has not gotten any better. I have a device here that actually measures how fast the wind goes, and it's hard for me to even talk. The wind is actually taking my breath away.
Winds reached at least 97 miles per hour in some areas, causing major damage. In Colorado Springs, Alexis Dominguez, KRDO News Channel 13.
Just to follow that up, just a few minutes ago, an El Paso County spokesperson told us they believe, this is a staggering number, they believe 1,100 drivers are still stranded tonight. They're in the areas of Schriever Air Force Base, Woodman and Mark Scheffel, also Calhan. County search and rescue crews and also crews from Lake County are all helping, and they will work through the night to get those drivers out. They know you're there. Now, she also said they expect the plowing to take about 8 hours tomorrow before most of those roads are drivable again.
And we do know that a lot of people are even hunkered down at the Falcon Walmart as well. Walmart being very nice to people and generous, letting them shelter in place there in the apparel section, watch TVs on the TV screens there in Walmart. So lots of people, even not on the roads, but inside Walmart.
There's worse places to be besides Walmart, Come and Go up in Monument. Yeah, some people lucked out.
Yeah, well, we know that the storm claimed at least one person's life today. Sadly, the victim was a state trooper working in Weld County. CSP confirming tonight that Corporal Daniel Groves was killed after being struck by a vehicle about 10 miles east of Keensburg along I-76. It happened around 11:20 this morning in those blizzard conditions. Groves was assisting a vehicle that slid off the roadway when he was struck by a driver who may have been going too fast. That driver was taken to a nearby medical center with moderate injuries. Straight ahead here on 13, so many of you were stranded in the storm today.
We'll show you some of the cars left abandoned in a live report next. Hurricane force winds, icy roads, car pileups. We saw it all today.
We sure did, and we continue our team coverage tracking the aftermath live in the elements. KRDO News Channel 13 Stephanie Sierra is live tonight in our mobile storm tracker with an update on those current conditions. And Steph, where are you now and what are you seeing?
Well, Heather and Bart, we're traveling north along the interstate, just about to get off at the Garden of the Gods exit. And as you can see, if you take a look at our camera here, conditions not too terrible, but that's certainly not the case just north of us. Not only is the interstate closed up there, but roads are icing up, making for a very treacherous commute.
What a difference a few hours can make. At dusk, the interstate looking much better, with the exception of those abandoned cars left behind. Driving less than a mile, we ran into not one, or two, or three, or four, but 5 cars stranded. Just like I was a few hours earlier. You see me there in the distance, struggling after I slid on ice near the Fillmore exit. Grabbing my things, it was hard to even walk. Because outside, all you could see is this, complete whiteout conditions. Those whipping winds like ice bullets pummeling in your face. It was a nightmare for Abraham Parsons.
Can't see things down the road or even maybe 50 feet in front of you.
That low visibility leading to many accidents across the city, like this 5-vehicle crash causing delays at Rock Rimmon. Plus, cars sliding off everywhere, like this one along Academy, leaving James and his friends stuck in a parking lot.
Is this the worst you've ever seen it?
It is.
Everyone can agree with that, even those traveling out of town like Antonio and Francisco, who learned their lesson the hard way.
Don't come out, and if you do, be careful.
Wise words, because if you're stuck in these conditions, you can only hope someone will be there to get you out of the mess.
Well, here's one more glance. We're traveling east on Garden of the Gods. Roads certainly icy in some areas. It may appear harmless on our camera, but we even found ourselves swerving just a moment ago. So keep that in mind for the morning commute. And of course, be sure to stay with our live team coverage. Reporting live in Colorado Springs, Stephanie Sierra, KRDO, News Channel 13.
Gosh, stay safe out there. Stephanie, thanks again for your live report. And we just want to reiterate tonight that there are a number of school districts that have gone ahead and canceled classes for tomorrow. We're talking all the big districts, D11, D49, D20, all the way down in Pueblo as well, D60, 70. If you want to see the complete list, you can get on KRDO.com. But safe to say, you're the exception if you have a delay tomorrow.
I think everybody at this point is closed. Mary, I'm concerned that our kids, at this rate, enough snow days that we've had so far, they may be in school 4th of July this year if we have to make up that many days for missing all this,
I didn't
right?
even think about that.
Yeah. They don't need summer school. They're going to be in summer school already. So.
I know. That means my kids
But hopefully
too.
tonight, hopefully tomorrow, the last day for at least a bit of a stretch.
A little bit of a stretch. We'll take the moisture. We don't want to, say that was a bad thing, but the winds we could have done without today. That was certainly the big kicker. I want to show you this because we've been showing you this shot all day, and conditions have significantly improved versus where we were just several hours ago. So we still have some breezy conditions out there left in Colorado Springs, but we continue to see the winds die down, at least for parts of the Pikes Peak region. I want to show you the larger scope of this system. I'm going to step out just to do it some justice because it is impacting most of the Midwest. Central pressure now up to about 980 millibars, so we expected that to climb, so that it really describes what's going on inside the storm. And this morning it was down to about 972 millibars. So the deeper the pressure, the more that's correlated to the faster wind speeds. And I've covered hurricanes that don't get down that low. So this has certainly been one for the record books in terms of the wind profile. The 97-mile-per-hour gust that was reported at Peterson Air Force Base certainly was record-breaking for this day in history. So it has been a widespread damaging wind event at the very least, and that is saying something. Wind continues to kind of hang around here along with some snow showers across the Palmer Divide. The lingering snow showers really will stay in place here along Highway 24 from Falcon to Peyton, Ellicott. A lot of these locations canceled school for tomorrow, and rightfully so. Kind of a little banding of snow showing up here across the far eastern corner there of El Paso County, but the lower visibilities will stay in place. Not quite as intense as it was earlier today, but still with 40 to 50 mile per hour embedded gusts at times, with still some light flurries falling. It is still going to make for some reduced visibility out there. Woodland Park, a few flurries will linger into the overnight hours as well. So the forecast model is showing you that persistent wind out of the north and west through 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Likelihood of a few little snow showers lingering here across parts of the Palmer Divide into about 7, 8 o'clock. So we slow to come to an end for some of these locations across northern El Paso County, Lincoln County, up into parts of Douglas County, and even Teller County. But the snow will start to taper off into the early morning hours. But the winds will hang around just a bit through the afternoon. Not quite as strong as today, but certainly for the far eastern plains, we still have those blizzard warnings in effect through the early morning hours as a result of those winds. Temperatures down in the 20s tonight. We will have some isolated slick spots out there for early tomorrow morning for secondary roads, even elevated surfaces. I know the infrastructure here in Colorado Springs, a lot of bridges and overpasses, so just take it slow out there. I know the crews have been working diligently to try to clear some of those roads. Not sure how much they could really treat them with them already being so wet, but I know there was some treatment that happened before the system moved in. By about 1, 2 o'clock, conditions are going to significantly improve in terms of the winds out there, but still some lingering 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts across the Arkansas River Valley. So with the ground being so saturated as it is now, with the moisture and then the lingering prolonged winds, still wouldn't be surprised if we had a down tree or two through the overnight hours and even through the day tomorrow for some of those easternmost counties. So an alert is out predominantly here for slick spots for early tomorrow morning, but we significantly improve as we move to the afternoon hours, and temperatures hovering here in the 20s for Woodland Park. So noticeably cooler out there, but a gradual warming trend as we make our way through the weekend. Canyon City, an alert out for just the early part of the morning for some isolated slick spots as well, but temperatures will be back above freezing. Of course, the winds will make it feel much colder out there than it actually is, so please be mindful of that. There will still be some breezy conditions to linger through the week, really the latter half of the day, but back in the 50s for the weekend. I think we can sit tight and hang on.
That's good news. Mary, thanks. With so many of you in need of help from the storm, there have also been others who jumped into action.
We'll show you how some came to the rescue up next.
A big trouble spot for drivers during today's blizzard, and during most blizzards, in fact, was around the intersection of Highway 24 and Constitution Avenue, just east of Colorado Springs.
Dozens of vehicles remain abandoned there, even so tonight. But the drivers got out safely thanks to help from Good Samaritans like Eric Waldrop. He lives in the area and joined other volunteers in lending a helping hand.
I was actually making a trip out to Lowe's and to get some fence posts because I lost part of my fence, and on the way out from Lowe's I heard on the radio, I'm a ham radio operator, and I heard that they had a bunch of people that were stuck out here, so I figured I'd come out and help.
Well, Waldrop says he helped take drivers to a nearby grocery store so they could find shelter for the night.
A great story. Many of them will hire tow trucks to recover their vehicles tomorrow. Some drivers said they haven't seen so much ice on the highway, on this Highway 24, since the storm closed it back in 2007.
And as we go to break, we are still in storm mode here at KRDO News Channel 13. This is a live look from our crews driving along I-25 headed southbound south of Fillmore right now. You do see some icy patches that they're just crossing there, but by and large, the downtown area not too bad. It's when you get north and east of town, that's when you run into some big trouble spots. We're back in 2 minutes.
As the storm winds down, that's fun to say, the damage left behind will surely make for a long cleanup in the days ahead.
Aside from all those rescues, dozens of trees were uprooted by today's hurricane-strength winds. KRDO News Channel 13's Crystal Story gives us this inside look.
From the ground up, trees uprooted all over Colorado Springs.
But when I come up and stand close to this tree, you can see how big it is in comparison to just how tall I am.
Some falling on top of cars.
The wind was so strong, it split at the root.
In parking lots.
Surely gonna be one heck of a cleanup that we're gonna have to deal with tomorrow.
Tina Davis had a tree fall on her house. Susie Cooper captured these downed trees near Rock Rimmon. In that area, the visibility so bad at times you can barely see in front of you. The road so slippery, semis were stuck in the middle of the road, some cars forced to turn around. A storm so strong, the damage it's leaving behind, like at this bus stop, is leaving a massive cleanup for tomorrow. In Colorado Springs, Crystal Story, KRDO News Channel 13.
And one thing we should add, when talking to a county spokesperson earlier, none of the drivers they rescued throughout the day, throughout the evening, were seriously injured. No fatalities to report from people stuck out in the cold, at least weather related. Of course, the trooper up in Weld County, that's a tragedy, but no drivers here suffering any serious injuries. That's a good thing.
Absolutely, no doubt. And the storm is winding down. We'll have another look at your forecast right after the break.
blizzard warnings expire midnight for Colorado Springs, not till about 6 a.m. for northern El Paso County. So the winds will continue to be an issue. Temperature highs will be noticeably cooler tomorrow into the 30s and 40s. Of course, pretty chilly out there today, considering the winds as well. Let's talk about when those winds taper off. The far eastern plains will see the strongest winds for the early part of the morning hours. Even Calhan will probably wake up to some 50-mile-an-hour winds in the mid-morning hours. But notice by the evening, we're just left with a few little slots of lingering gusts across the far eastern plains tomorrow evening. So significantly getting better tomorrow evening.
A question here on Facebook we just got in. Why are they calling this a historic blizzard? A lot of that is because of the wind gusts, right?
A lot of it too is how low the pressure went. That has a lot to do with it. So yeah.
All right. Good morning, Colorado begins at 4:30 a.m.